Everybody, welcome back to another episode of FSi DFS Fantasy Baseball Picks. I'm Mr. Mike 31. Have a 11 game slate here for Tuesday. It was going to be 12, but with the rain out between Washington and the White Sox, that game's not going to count, so don't play those players. They're usually in red and DK, so it should be pretty easy to see who they are. So, starting first game, Tampa Bay and Boston. I really like this game. The wind's blowing out 13 miles per hour in Fenway, 72 degrees, great hitting weather. Aaron Saval has struggled. Not playing him. Nick Pivetta came back, looked decent. Probably only going to get 70, 75 pitches, so I'm not going to play him. Love both offenses here on both sides with wind blowing out here. Not that Pivetta's a bad pitcher, but Tampa Bay, I think, makes a decent GPP stack, and Boston's one of my favorite stacks out there. Love the lefties, even throw O'Neill in there. He's been having a great season. Chicago Cubs and Atlanta Braves at Atlanta. Mild rain concern here, about 40% to up to maybe 50%. Wind blowing in 6 miles per hour. High he's been decent this year, just has a very low K rate. Chris Sale has been masterful. Looks like he's maybe finally healthy, knock on wood. And I think it's one of the top pitchers on the slate here. There's four studs that you can pay up for. Just pick whichever one fits in your budget, and I think you can't go wrong with Sale. So that makes the Cubs just a leverage stack, and the Braves. I think they're okay here. I think they're probably a top GPP stack. They haven't been like red hot recently, and the weather's really not conducive for them to like be explosive today. It could always happen, but I'll have to see on that. But I think that makes them a perfect GPP play and not a cash. So, Pirates and Brewers with Priester, Joe Ross. Not interested in Priester. Ross, I think, has some upside. The Pirates do have the 24% K rate. So, and like Reynolds has just been cold recently. Cruz is hit or miss. Sawinski's usually good against righties, but the rest of this lineup is not anything that I'm super afraid of. So, if you want to take a shot on Ross in the cheap range, I don't hate it. Pittsburgh bats, I think some cheap pieces here maybe, but on 11 game slate, I don't think I have much exposure at all. And the Brewers, I think, are definitely a top stack and kind of a little bit of savings off of like a Houston or a Texas or a Dodgers stack. So been liking them. The other thing too with this is Hoskins pulled up with a hammy injury on Monday night. So Bowers will probably get the start at first base there. Like him, he's been hitting pretty well this season, and hopefully he'll move up from like the seventh spot and maybe get a better spot up in the order. Yankees and Twins, wind blowing in here, 8 miles per hour, 71 degrees, so no shot of rain, so pretty decent day. Rendon, Paddock. Rendon's been good recently, so I think he's okay in the mid range, but the Twins have hit lefties pretty well. So I think they just make an amazing cheap stack here. Like the most expensive one is Jeffers at 48. Everybody else is 4K or below. And you have a lot of decent righties here. So probably won't have too much for Rendon. Probably will play a lot of Twins. And Paddock on the other side has actually been tough against righties. And obviously with Judge and Stanton in the lineup, there's some strikeouts there. So in play, again, not my favorite. I think there's some other decent cheap pitchers that I prefer. That's why he's down on the low side of the cheap range. Yankees, GPP here. Again, I think Paddock can shut him down. I mean, Soto's always good play. Verdugo, if he bats fourth, Rizzo, like maybe a three-man stack. The Wells, I mean, they're all split up in the lineup, but I maybe a mini stack there. Twins love it. Like I said, Correa, Jeffers, Correa at 4K. Castro usually hits in the third spot. There's 4K. Miranda 3.1. Margot 2.9. Carlos Santana, the veteran, is actually coming alive at 3.8. There's just so much value there. Got to play some Twins today. Guardians in Texas, Lively and lighter. Lively's been struggling, and I'm not playing him, even though I think he went over the KBO and came back, and it's been a little bit better. It's just against this Texas team that can absolutely explode at times, especially at home. Not interested. And then Leiter's really struggled too. So Cleveland doesn't have much power, but they do hit well. So Again, like especially how the lineup comes. Like if Brennan is like leading off a 3.5, and that's usually a good one. You have some other like Florial have been love playing him at 3-3. There's some really cheap left-handed backs here, so Cleveland's definitely in play in a GPP or maybe even like in the cheap range. And then Texas, I think, is definitely probably top threes on the slate if you can get up to them, because I think you might want to pay up for pitching here. So I don't know if you can get to the bats necessarily. Oakland and Houston, JP Sears is decent. Houston has struggled at times, but they still have the lowest K rate in Major League Baseball, so there's not much K upside. So not really on Sears today. Blanco has been solid this season. It's another great matchup here. Oakland has been top five in strikeouts, so usually over 25%. So I think Blanco is definitely out of the top four here. He's the cheapest price, so I think he'll have a decent amount of ownership there. Bat wise, Bregman came back alive last night, had a home run, but I still don't trust it even against the lefty. But I think you go out Tuesday. Tucker and Alvarez hit lefties just as well as they hit righties. Pena maybe there. Diaz the catcher. I really like Jake Myers with everything that he brings at 3K. And with some of the injuries, he has been playing the whole game, not getting platooned. So I think that he's definitely a cheap piece if you want to get some Houston exposure as a one. St. Louis and Angels, Sonny Gray and Reed Detmer. I think both these pitchers are going to be popular because both these teams have been horrible batting wise. With their WRC plus has just been in the toilet, and it's just not really good power. And like St. Louis, just seeing the astounding stats of Goldsmith and some of the other studs just being like uh, 4 hits for like the whole month of May or something like that. It was just a crazy low stat a couple days ago. It was on Twitter or X that we all saw. So Gray definitely in play here against the Angels. Detmers at 83 is great price here against the struggling St. Louis team. Weather is 68 degrees and wind blowing out, so I think both stacks would just be contrarian plays, maybe. If you think the pitcher's going to be popular and the bat's going to be low owned, and if they do happen to go off, then that's going to be a good night for you. Kansas City and Seattle, Waka, I think is a strong play here in the cheap range. He's had some good games, he's had some bad games, and this is a type of team that leads to him probably being one of his good games where he could put up like 20 uh DK points or some. I'm thinking I'm tapering my expectations, and maybe I'd take like 14 but 17 out of him. I'd be fine. So because Seattle just has like they're number one in baseball still with almost a 28% strikeout rate. And then Gilbert on the other side, I think it's a good matchup, even though Kansas City doesn't have a huge um, K upside, and they've been like the second best in baseball. I think you can have a solid game here and be sneaky in a GPP. And he's like the lowest of the high priced pitchers. So maybe I'll have a little bit of exposure there just in case. Colorado and San Diego are bat wise, like I think they're just both 150 maxes. Both teams have totals below four. Just probably just based on the pitching matchups there. Colorado and San Diego, Paul Control is a no. Dylan Cease, I think, is definitely probably top pitcher on the slate here. You're going to pay up for him 11K. Colorado is very anemic offensively, especially outside of Coors. And 63 degrees, and so it's not going to be like hot hitting weather in San Diego. So I'm not touching Colorado as bats. I mean, they'd be just probably the alternate control in stock, just in case they for some reason go off. It's baseball, that's why they play the game. Anything could happen. Um, but I think he's probably going to shut them down. And then San Diego gets a bad pitcher and a bad bullpen. So uh, I think that's, I mean, they weren't as impressive yesterday as I thought they could be in similar matchups. So I put them as the second highest GPP one, but I don't have at least one still. Reds and Diamondbacks, Hunter Green and Sassoni. Both pitchers are okay. Just take it or leave it in the context of the slate. Sassoni, like I tried for Wata, um, or I missed a game. Where's Ross? Maybe he's Joe Ross from the Brewers. Yeah, sorry, I skipped over him. Or maybe I did talk about him. I think Ross is okay there, but I'd probably just play walk in the cheap range there because Cincinnati. I mean, they're obviously better at home at the Great American Small Park, but they can put up runs and run on you and stuff. And other than the top two ones, like they're pretty cheap to stack. Arizona against Hunter Green. I mean, I put both these at 150 bucks just because like their total's only 4.25. But I think, late night hammer, if you I just stack these teams or fade them. I wouldn't really take them as one-offs. So I think both sides make great late night hammer GPP stacks, but that's where I'm probably going to leave it. Dodgers and San Francisco. It's at San Francisco, so it's a pitcher's park. Stone should be decent. San Francisco has, I mean, they're middle road for like K rate, almost everything. They're an average team, and nobody like really scares me here. But they can put up some nights. I think it's interesting that Strumsky is like starting to come on. That they sometimes have been leading him off here. Wade's been decent recently, but you can only possibly have like only three lefties in this lineup. So I think Stone's someone that you can play if you're doing that, if you're correlating with a Dodger stack or something and playing like mid-range pitchers instead of the studs to try to get the bats in. I think that definitely works. Win on the other side of 5K, I'm not touching. I think he even gets to like 10 DK points. And Dodgers are always a dangerous matchup. So Dodgers bats, definitely in play here. They're just so expensive. Um, and to figure out who's going to have the good nights is just you can usually like with the big bats like Mookie or Otani. I mean, you can do it with some of the value pitching. You're probably going to end up playing like Waka and like Detmers or something like that, which isn't a horrible combination for a GPP. And the San Francisco bats. I mean, if you want to take some of the cheap left-handed bats like Yastrzemski, Wade, and maybe Salvo as the catcher, I'm okay with that in GPP, but I'm not doing it in cash. So let's look at some builds to get you on your way for your day here. So give me Sale and Blanco. And like you can probably mix and match any of the four pitchers up top, but those two work the best price range wise for me. And then I'm taking Boston with that win going out in Minnesota righties against Rodon. Just they're just so cheap and good value. So uh, give me Blanco, Jeffers, Devers, Correa, Duran. Sorry, I missed one. I usually have another one. So probably gonna put what else am I gonna throw in that stack? Abreu. I'll have him there. So put Abreu in as the other outfielder there. And then for GPP, I said Detmers and Waka are probably my favorite pairing if I want to get big bats in. But I'm not really going big bats here. I'm just going to take Tampa Bay just because, again, it's the win situation. So give me Low, Rosarena, probably Paredes, Palacio, and then Revolt as a cheap catcher at 3-1. If you want a punt catcher and don't want a catcher part of your stack, I I'm assuming it's Pages, just like the Dodgers guy. Pedro is 2K for the Cardinals. Bats ninth, but has a split advantage against Statmer. So if you're punting a GPP and just want to put not necessarily a free square, but just a pretty much a free player there just to build the rest of your line, then that works. And I'm going to fill in with Milwaukee bats. So I like Bowers. I said lefty there, and then probably look at Trang there leading off usually at with lefty righty matchup in second base. So I got for you. If you have any questions, put them in the chat below. Hit me up with Mega on Twitter/X. If these videos help you, then help us back. Like the video, subscribe to our channel so you know when the videos come out, and share it with friends. And if you want more information on FSi DFS, then you can check out the description of the video, and there's a link to get to our pricing page. And you'll see our pricing is very reasonable for everything that we offer. Got a lot of cool things going on, and we're looking to add some things in the future. So stay tuned to our X/Twitter page for more information on that. So thanks for watching. Good luck in your contest. Hope you have an amazing Tuesday, and I'll see you next time.